when they started broaching the subject a couple of years ago, a 17th game, no way. If they care so much about player safety, even the league, and the players say, no, we won't go for it.
Are you surprised it moved so quickly?
Hell no. Because players don't want to miss no checks. I want to smoke that weed. Jenny, you know that weed, that bud, I need that good stuff. That scunion, that ooh-wee. Skip, that's important to them. Smoke away, smoke away.
Hey, thanks for watching Numbskull News, and today is about the NFL's collective bargaining agreement. I know you're probably thinking, well, that's kind of a boring subject. Well, you can always turn over to ESPN2 and watch the electrical championships. A bunch of electricians having some kind of electrician off, whatever crap that was. Or there's rock climbing championships, there's drone races, squash championships, racquetball, handball. You get it? The NFL season's over. So it's mostly suckage from here on out. You got the NBA to help alleviate a little bit. But for the most part, it's baseball and a bunch of suck-ass crap. So this video is going to be about the CBA and what the media seems to think about it, if they get anything right at all. So let's get these clips going.
I am a proponent of the players doing this deal if indeed the players themselves are limited to 16 games.
He said, Shannon, the player said, if we add a 17th game, what's the difference between a 17th game and you make the playoffs? You play 17. You win, how many you play, Skip? 18. You win again, how many you play? 19. You win again, you play 20. So we already playing those games. We might well pick up a little extra change in the process.
Shannon's right. The NFL players really, the vast majority of them, don't care about playing a 17th game. If you make the playoffs, you're already playing extra games. You're already going beyond 16 anyway. So you might as well make the extra money. Where Stephen A is talking about is like, hey, player safety, everyone just plays 16 games instead of 17. Well, then you're really watering down the product, aren't you? Players aren't really concerned about that crap. They just want to get paid.
If players are going to play an extra game, will they get longer health benefits? Because that's a concern as well in terms of insurance.
So, and their careers may get shorter, which means that they may not make it to the 3-year vested period, which is at which point where you will get 5 years of health insurance after retirement. I know.
We know now that, no, nothing really changes. Who out there has a job where they get free benefits? And who else can retire or quit and still have coverage for an additional 5 years without anything coming out of your pocket? The owners, I don't blame them at all for not wanting to take on that responsibility beyond the 5-year mark. And there's former players that want to bitch and whine, well, I hurt now and it's hard to get out of bed and all the surgeries. I know tons of people, blue-collar people, construction workers, electricians, plumbers, roofers, these guys are hurting. By the time they hit 45, man, their bodies have just went through the ringer. Football is, on average, 3 years as far as professionally goes. You might have guys that play till they're 30, 33, 34. We'll go another 10 or 20 years for a normal blue-collar guy using his body to work. Right? Those guys are hurting. They didn't make near the money. No one knows who their names are. They're not making, any endorsement money. So kiss my ass. Why don't you do like everyone else has? No one else gets to retire at 30. Go out and get another job. Stop whining. And speaking of whining.
Chris, just one more game. What's your gut feeling on that?
No, please no.
What a pussy.
If it was up to me and I was the president of the NFL, I am actually... I'm taking away padded practice to 5 practices.
And there's only 14 now.
Yeah, just 5.
All year?
For training camp.
So only 5 padded practices for training camp?
1,000%.
Guess what? Man, I don't really be wanting to put on these pads, Skip, man. These pads for the birds. And I don't be wanting to have OTA practice and minicamp practice on the weekend.
So they're getting that.
Yeah!
So, not only does Mr. Jones, Mr. Soft-Ass Jones, get his wish. It's kind of funny to me how Shannon Sharp kind of calls out that mentality, you know, that these guys aren't really looking at the important real picture. And they're not. Because, I'm sorry, in order to get really good at football, you need to be able to practice football. In order to be able to make it through 16, 17 games, whatever it is, you need to kind of callous your body up. You need to be used to taking and giving hits.
But when you get a guy that has made $100 million playing football, saying it's a hard no on the CBA, you're not speaking for 92% of the rest of the NFL that needs to be paid.
Yeah, see, here's one of the real problems. And this clip here stems from a tweet from J.J. Watt that it was a hard no on the salary cap. You know, a lot of these big-time players, whether they're blue-chip rookies, first-rounders, going to get paid a lot of money, or guys that just make a lot of money, you know, like they said about J.J. Watt, made about $100 million, and you're bitching. None of these guys speak for the vast majority of players who don't make near what they make. There's a real lack of information that they don't have. It's like, don't gripe unless you actually know, unless you talk to your union steward and your union reps, read the CBA before you vote. I mean, don't sit there and judge it before you even know what the hell's in it.
It's not like the owners sent over a proposal yesterday that no one had looked at before and said, hey, say yes or no to this. This has been negotiated between the union and the league for 9 or 10 months, and this is where they've gotten. And the union feels like this is as far as they're going to get, so they're putting it to their members to vote.
DeMaurice Smith has been behind the idea of this CBA proposal from the get-go. He presided over the negotiations. There's a term sheet. I'm told he signed off on it, which isn't binding, but at least it sends a message to the rest of the union that the guy you hired to run the union wants this deal.
But every time I've talked to any player that became more informed and got more of the detail, they became more understanding of what this negotiation brought to the table for them.
And I think that's why the vast majority of people think this is going to pass. I mean, it went through those early stages, past 17 to 14. Now it's going to go to the rest of the union for a vote. And, of course, most of those guys are minimum salary guys, practice squad guys, rookies. And all those guys are going to get a massive pay bump.
If I got kids, they're probably in private school. Private school don't care nothing about you sitting out. They want that check. Mortgage companies don't care nothing about no lockout. They want their money, car payments. So health, skip all that. So guess what going away? You know, you lock out, you can't get you no benefits either. So you got to come out your own pocket. When you got a Bentley, a Rolls, a Ferrari that you got to pay for. You got 2 homes, and plus you know you had to take care of mama. You got to take mama got to get a crib. So mama got to get a crib out the deal before anybody. And then you got college tuition that you paying for that's not your kids. You know what I mean, Skip?
I do.
So when you do that, and then you got to make it rain every so often, you got to make it rain.
Okay.
Skip, I need them checks.
It goes fast.
There's another reason why there's a split within the NFLPA is a lot of guys spend too much money trying to take care of everyone in their family. Making it rain, as Shannon Sharp says, that's been a thing forever. And you get to a CBA, they don't want to strike. They need the money. And a lot of guys are just in those situations. But that's the common thread. That's the common story. But what's different about this CBA, and really where I believe the owners just put out a genius move, was they really targeted the lower end players, which is the majority of the NFL players with more money. If they just needed to get this thing to a general vote of all union members, all you need is one more player voting yes than no, and it's passed. It's ratified. It's genius. It's reading the room correctly on who's on the other side and how they're represented.
The scout team guys getting up to 10,000, you know, that's a huge jump from 3,500 to 10,000. That's life changing.
A month?
A week.
But that's kind of the win in this deal, is at the minimum salary level. Minimum salaries over the life of this deal are going to go up. Instantly, they'll go up by 20-25%. That's more than half the players in the league operating at minimum salaries.
And of course, all of the big time players, like I said, those 1%ers, all the blue chip guys, they're not going to get the big increase like they think they should get. Instead, that's getting spread out to everyone else. Like the practice squad, that's $10,000 a week. And most of those guys are not going to make it into the NFL. They're just not. They're not going to have a 5-10 year career. So they're going to have all of the practice squad players sign off on this. And as far as the your league minimum guys, these are backups, these are third stringers, special team players. Those are the vast majority of the players. Their salary is going to go up 20 to 25%. You'd be stupid not to sign the deal.
If you go with the 17 games, you go up to 1.5%, which they estimate at $5 billion, which my math suggests that they need to get huge TV deals to make that happen.
There's two deals, the deal with the league and the deal with the networks, and you combine them. And in his mind, it's better to combine them now than to combine them later.
Right. Your timing is everything. It is critical. It is critical that we all recognize that where our timing is, economy, where we are with our game, the popularity of our game, it's critical to recognize how valuable the perception is to going forward together for the next several years as the clubs and the players, what that could mean for us as far as having money in the room. It's not fun. It's usually not a very good meeting when you go in the room when there's no money. And so there's money in this room with this CBA. And the most important thing about the 17 games is it actually gives you a better choice of the best games to have on television and at the end of the day, and thereby a better television product.
So we get a little bit of the sales pitch that Jerry Jones is going to use. Hey, you want a better television product? Well, we need a little bit more money from you TV networks. The deal isn't really getting combined. Jerry's saying we need to be a unified front, owners and players. So when we go into the negotiating room for TV deals, which that's how the owners get paid, that's how the players get paid. So yeah, you get that extra game, you're selling that. And not just an extra game. You're getting 2 extra playoff games every year as well. And why fans love the idea of this, having 1 less bye week, because now all the top teams are really going to be fighting to get that first seed, to get the only bye week, because it's vital, it's important. And now you get 2 extra games, one in the NFC, one in the AFC, in the wild card weekend. That's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be so much fun. DeMaurice Smith, who I've always felt a little critical about, I always thought he was a little bit too combative with the commissioner for sometimes no reason at all. But here, he's actually seeing reason. Oh, hey, we, as a union, have a chance to get a hell of a lot more money because they lost a lot of money during that last CBA. So now we can get back up to more respectable as far as your percentage cut, 48.5%, I think, after everything goes in place, the 17th game and the extra playoff games.
I think just from my years here, as well as my experience in business, you've got to say at some time it's time to go. I'm on probably my last contract, and I'm a now man in that respect.
And Jerry had alluded to it may have been more in his personal best interest to put this off for a year, because number one, they have more leverage next year. And what I mean by that is they could lock the players out. They could shut down all the money, the benefits, everything, healthcare, and sit there and wait for these guys to come around scratching and begging for their money, for their paychecks to start up again. And not only that, but you lose the transition tag, which means now if you wanted to use that on Amari Cooper and make those negotiations a little bit easier, now you can't. So now it's going to get a lot more tricky and a little harder for Jerry to keep some of his top players. He recognizes a sweetheart time and a deal to make that big money, not just for his team, but for all the teams, for the NFL, the health of the NFL, and more money in the pockets of the players.
This shows why businesses must be regulated, why you need regulation. A business is like a shark. Morality is irrelevant. They're amoral. The job is to make money.
So a business is like a shark. Does a shark employ thousands of people? Does a shark make millionaires of people? No. I'm not saying the NFL is perfect, but you just look at it. You don't have to look at the NFL. Look at a small business, right? If you own a screen printing shop where you make T-shirts, all right, the job is to make that business viable and make money. No, you're not trying to cure cancer. You're not trying to solve world hunger or prevent all world wars. You're just trying to make some money and raise your kids and make ends meet. Now, the NFL, they're extraordinarily wealthy, and they want to continue that on. They want to get richer. But they understand to do that, they got to make the players richer, and they do. Incredible opportunities they give to young men every single year. Of course, it's about making money. As far as regulations, they are regulated. What the hell country does Max Kellerman come from? I mean, this is a negotiation, a collective bargaining negotiation. They've been negotiating this thing for 10 months now. Max Kellerman always wants to bark up the NFL tree. Well, you know what? If you don't like the deal, go holler at DeMaurice Smith and the NFLPA. Because they're the ones that have been negotiating this for this long. They didn't have to, and they did.
The owners are saying, wait a minute, we get another big real payday? A real payday. Yeah. We get a real game payday at the expense of just one. And you have to force the season ticket buyers to buy the preseason game. Yeah. But still, on ad revenue and concessions and all, you know.
Skip here is a little full of shit, but Skip and Shannon, they actually have about the only argument that I actually agree with. Here, you know, of course, Skip doesn't really understand what he's talking about. No, one game is not going to make all this difference. He's talking about ad revenue for one game. He's talking about concessions. And look, the owners don't give a damn about the concessions or even about the seat prices and all that. So the amount of money they're losing or gaining is not that much. And ad revenue doesn't count because the NFL doesn't collect the ad revenue. The broadcast network collects the ad revenue. What the NFL is going to get, they're going to get their licensing money from the broadcast. Where Skip and Shannon have this absolutely right is that they're not blaming the NFL for being the NFL and trying to make a good deal. Where they're pissed is these players pissing and moaning about the dumb shit, right? How many padded practice? It doesn't matter how many padded practices. It doesn't matter if now you get to smoke weed. It just doesn't matter. What matters is, and as far as what they're giving up, even the extra game doesn't matter. The health concerns, all that stuff is bullshit. It really is. Everything that's been talked about so far is complete BS. The only thing that really matters is the percentage of the revenues. That's all that matters. And now they can get back up to about 48.5% of the total revenues, in which the owners now will still be above 50. See, what Skip and Shannon are advocating for is a 50-50 split, or at least close to it.
I like weed. They're going to let me smoke weed all the way up to 2 weeks. And they're going to raise the nanogram threshold from 30 to 150. That's important to me, Jenny. Skip. The owners don't care about no weed because every state is passing weed laws. They were upset that they were losing some of their top players for weed. So let me get this straight. In order for you to smoke an extra 3 months, you willing to give all that up. You willing to give up $3-4 billion to smoke an extra 3 months. Yeah. Because all you got to do, you know when they test and Skip, just skip a month.
I hear
you. You got to smoke all the time.
So apparently the thing that makes Shannon the sickest is that they essentially got weed legal in the NFL. And it's not legal, but how much they raised the testing, or I should say lowered the testing standards. If you get busted for weed now, like if you test positive, you're an absolute moron because you don't even have to stop smoking in order to pass the test now. You just have to limit the amount you smoke for a small period of time because you will know when you get tested. But the players, he's right, the players did want that. They wanted less padded practices. You know, they wanted a few more dollars for a 17th game. Shannon and Skip are saying that there was a chance to possibly get this up to maybe 49%, 49.5%. And he's right. That's a difference between, could be $2 to $4 billion difference, where I slightly disagree with Skip and Shannon. You know, they negotiated this for 10 months. So they did try to get more money and a higher percentage. There was just a place where the ownership wasn't going to go. And they're like, look, we'll just do this next year. We'll do this next year. We'll probably won't get the TV contracts that we really wanted. So your money levels aren't going to be what they could have been. And then we got leverage. We can lock you out, and you're not going to get your 48.5. At best, you might get 48. At best. So the deal was going to get way worse for the players. And now you don't have Roger Goodell just being the judge, jury, and executioner anymore. Now, player gets in trouble, it goes to a panel. That's something that was important to a lot of players. It was important to a lot of players about the weed. And the NFL ingeniously found a way for them to be able to smoke and still look like, hey, we're against it. So that works out. They were able to get a lot of the bottom feeder guys in the NFL way more money. And not to mention you get rid of one of the franchise tags, which you know how much players love that shit. What Skip and Shannon say, and really kind of what I say too, players may have been able to get a little bit more of that revenue. However, there's probably only so far the owners were going to go. So Jerry pretty much said it. Hey, part of me wants to wait till next year anyway. Anyway, that's all I got on this. I'll be back with some other crap later. Bye.
I'm going to want to slap the taste out of somebody's mouth the next time I hear something about slave mentality.
Okay.
Because you signed up for this.